Welcome to Lau Ming's channel. In February 1985, an American girl named Jill Lawson became pregnant and gave birth to a premature baby 7 months later. This little baby named Jeffrey weighed only 1.36 pounds and was weak and sickly from birth. 6 weeks later, the doctors discovered that Jeffrey had a common condition in premature infants called patent ductus arteriosus, and he needed surgery. Jeffrey's tiny body was opened up, his ribs were pried apart, and a blood vessel near his heart was tied off. This surgery is called a patent ductus arteriosus closure. Then after all the tissues were stitched back together, little Jeffrey still passed away 5 weeks later. The heartbroken mother called the doctor to ask about the details of the surgery. Then she heard something extremely horrifying. During the surgery, the baby had not been given any anesthetics or painkillers. The mother was shocked, and the doctor quickly explained to her that infants' brains aren't fully developed, so they can't feel pain. At that time, most infants weren't given anesthesia during surgery. Why not? Because strong anesthetics were believed to be more likely to harm the baby. But this mother was skeptical, so she wrote to many medical institutions, asking them for a scientific explanation. At that time, the medical community couldn't provide a definitive answer. In other words, do infants actually know pain? No one knew that this story would attract a lot of attention and eventually make it to the New York Times. In 1987, 2 years later, the American Academy of Pediatrics officially announced that infants must be given anesthesia when undergoing surgery. The story takes a sudden turn, prompting people to start thinking about what pain really is. Why do humans experience pain? To uncover the secrets of pain, we need to start from the beginning. As early as the late Neolithic period, humans had already begun finding ways to treat pain. In Israel, an ancient tomb dating back to the 14th century BC was discovered, containing 22 pottery jars, 8 of which held poppy seeds, indicating that people at that time knew how to use poppy juice to relieve pain. In ancient Egypt and Greece, people used willow leaves to relieve pain and fever. Willow leaves contain salicylic acid, which is the precursor to the modern miracle drug aspirin. There's also a plant called the anesthetic herb, known as heavenly fairy, which is a plant that can calm and relieve pain. This famous oil painting depicts the story of the witch Medea preparing a potion with the heavenly fairy herb for her husband. The question arises, whether it's poppy, willow leaves, or heavenly fairy, these are all oral medications and aren't applied directly to the wound. Clearly, these medications act on the brain, not the wound, which suggests that the sensation of pain doesn't originate from the injury itself. So how is pain actually produced? Fast forward to 1644, the first person to provide a scientific explanation for pain was the Frenchman René Descartes. In our middle school math classes, we all know that Descartes was a philosopher and a great mathematician. What we didn't expect was that Descartes also conducted extensive research in natural sciences. In his work On Man, he elaborated on his views about pain. This is an illustration from Descartes' book. Imagine a little boy's foot touching fire. The skin that comes into contact with the fire will react. Pulling a hidden line causes pain. When tissues are injured, nerves send signals to the brain. For centuries, the medical community has followed Descartes' explanation of pain. Some believe it has flaws. At this point, a person will feel pain when body tissues are injured. Nerves transmit information to the brain in the form of biological signals, and then the brain reacts to the pain. For nearly 400 years, the medical community has described pain according to Descartes' explanation. At first glance, Descartes' explanation seems perfect. However, there are always those who believe that this theory is somewhat flawed. A count in the British Army led a cavalry charge and lost his right leg to a cannonball. He exclaimed, "I've lost my leg," and was taken for treatment. According to Descartes, he should have felt immense pain. His right leg had been blown off by a cannonball, and he was so scared that he shouted to the British Commander-in-Chief, the Duke of Wellington, "Your Majesty, my leg is gone," and he was rushed for emergency treatment. Descartes said he should have felt pain when his leg was blown off. If he had low pain tolerance, he might have fainted, but he didn't realize his leg was gone. He noticed only after returning to camp and relaxing. Why didn't the nerve signal pain? Pain is more complex than Descartes suggested. If he had a low tolerance for pain, he might have fainted right away. But the reality was that he didn't even realize his leg had been blown off. It was only after he rode back to his camp and his highly stressed brain relaxed that he suddenly noticed his leg was missing. Isn't there a nerve that pulls the brain's pain switch? So why didn't this nerve transmit the pain signal? It seems that the issue of pain is far more complicated than what Descartes suggested. Fast forward to June 1932, when American psychiatrist George D. Byrne recorded a case that left him puzzled. He published this peculiar case in the Journal of Neurology and Psychopathology, titled A Case of Congenital Insensitivity to Pain. As the name suggests, the patient was someone who could not feel pain, marking the first recorded case of a pain-insensitive patient in medical history. How terrifying was this patient? Once, he accidentally shot off his own index finger with a handgun. Although he was very scared, he felt no pain at all. Throughout his life, he had suffered countless injuries, but he never felt pain even once. This amazed the doctors. Wasn't pain supposed to be transmitted to the brain through the nerves? So what was wrong with this patient's nervous system? E.D. Byrne conducted a thorough examination of the patient and found that his nervous system was perfectly normal. D.E.D. Byrne couldn't explain this phenomenon. He could only raise a question, believing that Descartes' explanation was incorrect. Bill Burns opened up a new world in the study of pain. But unfortunately, he did not leave behind even a single photo. One day, an article appeared online commemorating him, titled A Forgotten American Neuropsychiatrist and Physiologist. How exactly does the nervous system transmit pain? D.E.D. Byrne's question lingered on. In 1965, after more than 30 years, Canadian psychologist Robert Melzack and his partner Patrick Wall published a medical monograph titled The New Theory of Pain Mechanisms. They proposed that pain is indeed transmitted to the brain through nerves. But along this pathway, there are many switches, like doors, called relay neurons. These relay neurons determine whether the pain signals can enter the brain. Gate control theory explains why pain isn't always felt. Relay neurons block signals unless injury is detected. People's understanding of pain is quite interesting. For example, we engage in a lot of simple touches every day, and some actions can be quite impactful, like hitting a wall. Why don't we feel pain in those cases? That's because hitting a wall doesn't send a danger signal. The relay neurons block the pain signals from traveling along the spine. The door is closed, but once the brain determines that the body is injured, the relay neurons will open the gate and immediately transmit the pain signals to the brain. At that moment, the brain will feel the pain. Through further research, Melzack made a brand new discovery. Many patients who have undergone amputation experience a condition called phantom limb syndrome. Simply put, the wound from the amputation has healed long ago, yet they still feel pain. This condition is referred to as phantom pain. Melzack found that there is a particularly effective method for treating phantom pain. By using a mirror to block the patient's amputated limb, the patient can imagine that their missing limb still exists, which can significantly reduce the pain. Melzack believes the body's experience is formed by a neural network, the neural matrix. Phantom pain occurs as the brain's nerves recall the original limb. If the brain perceives the limb as present, the pain vanishes. Patients trick their brain with a mirror. Melzack proposed pain might be brain imagined. The abstract theory faced skepticism. If the brain thinks the original limb is still there, the pain disappears. In other words, the patient tricks their brain with the mirror. Melzack continued to deepen his theory, suggesting that pain might actually be something the brain imagines. This theory is so abstract that, when it was first published, people were skeptical. Is Melzack's viewpoint really true? Fast forward to 1973, when researchers John Hughes and Hans Kosterlitz at the University of Aberdeen isolated enkephalins from pig brains, marking the first discovery of opioid peptides in animal brains. What are these things? In simple terms, this is the opioid painkiller that would later be invented. Soon after, another pain-relieving mechanism in the brain was discovered, known as endorphins, which are the body's own natural painkillers. The discovery of nootropics and endorphins fully confirmed Melzack's view that pain is indeed a product of our imagination. Why do painkillers work? It's because these drugs provide a large amount of brain enkephalins and endorphins, effectively tricking the brain. Pain can be so unbearable. So why do we even have the sensation of pain? According to the principles of evolution, there are very important reasons. For humans to retain the ability to feel pain. Earlier, we talked about the first recorded pain-insensitive patient. Now, let me introduce another story of a pain-insensitive patient. In the late 1970s, there was a remarkable child named Naveed in northern Pakistan. This child could walk barefoot on hot coals and could stab a sharp knife into his arm without feeling any pain at all. There are very few people in the world who do not experience pain. Scientists from the University of Cambridge planned to interview him, but before they could set off, another incident occurred. This little boy made a bet with other kids, claiming he could jump from a tall building and be fine. And then he jumped from the building. The other kids watched him get up, dust himself off, and then went home. But Naveed didn't realize that his internal organs were bleeding heavily. And that night, he died. This is a tragedy. Scientists also lost a very important research subject. It is estimated that about 1 in a million people is pain-free, or has very low sensitivity to pain. Such individuals are extremely rare. Why are they so rare? It's because most people who lack the sensation of pain, like that child from Pakistan, often die young. So pain is a very important sensation. It's a product of evolution in nature. For a species to survive, it must evolve the ability to feel pain. In a way, pain is a good thing. Pain is a self-protection mechanism of the body. There's an old saying in China, minor ailments are constant, but major illnesses are rare. This saying holds some truth. Some people are always complaining about pain here and there, and they tend to pay a lot of attention to it, which might actually help them live longer. On the other hand, some people never experience any pain, but that doesn't necessarily mean their health is great. It could be that their pain sensitivity is low. For such individuals, when they do get sick, it could be a serious illness, and they might not be able to recover, leading to a shorter lifespan. Some friends might say, that's not right. Some people are in pain every day, and their quality of life is terrible. They feel like they don't even want to live anymore. Pain is a really awful thing. You tell me that pain is a good thing. Isn't that nonsense? Pain is a very complex issue. To clarify this further, we need to go back and talk about Melzak's theory. Melzak is a master in the field of pain research. He proposed that pain can be divided into 2 types. One is acute pain, like the pain from cutting your finger, and the other is chronic pain. There are many conditions that cause chronic pain, such as lower back pain, migraines, joint pain, neuropathic pain, inflammatory bowel disease, cancer, and so on. Acute pain is actually a good thing for us. For example, when our hand touches something hot, it quickly reminds us to pull away, which protects our body from harm. This stress response is very important and can sometimes save our lives. So, what is chronic pain? Chronic pain can also be divided into 2 types. One type involves tissue damage, like cancer, which requires specific treatment for the cancer. There's also a situation that falls under the category of difficult to diagnose conditions. Some patients experience chronic pain, go to the hospital, get scans done, and have tests run, but nothing is found. Does that mean the patient is faking it? Absolutely not. There's another possibility here. To clarify this issue, I'll use myself as an example. On November 7th, 2022, I suddenly hurt my back due to a herniated disc and ended up lying on the floor for 2 whole months. After that, my back started hurting, leading to chronic pain. For example, when I bend down to lift something heavy, I feel a sharp pain that shoots from my lower back down to my heels, like an electric shock. Recently, I've developed another issue. I can't get into the car from the passenger seat. This is because my disc has herniated on the left side. My left side hurts, but getting into the car is fine. Is my back injury worsening? Not necessarily. It doesn't show on scans. The herniated disc was painful and left a deep impression. To avoid that pain, my brain might exaggerate it, reminding me to be cautious. Chronic pain can be self-protection, but it has limits. Living in constant pain isn't viable. That time when I had the herniated disc was extremely painful. Moving a little could make me faint from the pain. To prevent experiencing that intense pain again, my brain exaggerates the pain, reminding me to be cautious and not to make any sudden movements. Chronic pain is a form of self-protection. Everything has its limits. Living in chronic pain is unsustainable. Chronic pain significantly affects quality of life. Pain is a condition that needs to be treated. But everything has its limits. One can't live in chronic pain all the time. Chronic pain greatly affects quality of life. And severe chronic pain can even be life-threatening. Pain is a condition that needs to be treated. Now let's briefly review what we've covered. Earlier, we spent a lot of time explaining pain, mainly discussing how it arises, and introducing the 2 types of pain, acute pain and chronic pain. Acute pain is, treat the illness, pain fades. But what about chronic pain? Ways to treat chronic pain. First, sleep. Good sleep is crucial for recovery. The brain needs sleep for protection. Protected brain releases endorphins, reducing pain. Second, positive social interactions. Socializing should be positive. Participate if possible. Best social activity. Knitting class. Not sure if in China, but other countries have knitting classes for pain management. The brain is well protected and will release endorphins and enkephalins, which help reduce the sensation of pain. Second, engage in positive social interactions. Socializing should be uplifting. Participate actively. Surprisingly, knitting classes are ideal for pain treatment, combining movement, a rich environment, and social interaction. The theory is that hand movements interfere with pain localization, reducing pain. Third, exercise is crucial. Despite chronic back pain, strengthening back muscles is beneficial. Knitting equals exercise plus a rich environment plus social activities. But many activities can provide these conditions. Why is knitting the only class that has a miraculous effect on treating pain? There is such a theory that it is because the constant crossing of the hands will interfere with the brain's location of pain, thereby reducing pain. But that's just one theory. There isn't a scientific explanation for it yet. The third method is exercise and physical activity. This is a well-known topic. For someone like me who has chronic back pain, theoretically, I shouldn't play sports like badminton or golf that require using my back. But in reality, the opposite is true. The more back pain I have, the more I should strengthen my back muscles. The stronger the back muscles, the better they can protect and support the spine. But remember, you must not jump into intense exercise right away. It should be a gradual process. Increase the amount of exercise little by little. During this process, if you feel any discomfort, you must stop immediately. The biggest taboo is to exacerbate an injury. Exercise must be done in moderation, and this is a key point in the treatment process. Fourth, reduce stress in life. Experts have found that anxiety, depression, and stress are important causes of persistent pain. As mentioned earlier, pain is a protector of the body. So why does stress lead to pain? It's the brain reminding us that we need to relieve some stress. Therefore, taking antidepressants might help alleviate pain. But these medications should not be taken casually. It must be taken under a doctor's guidance. A doctor once said something very insightful. The only side effect of reducing stress is that it makes the body healthier. Fifth, there's hypnosis therapy. Some might say, this sounds a bit mystical. Actually, it's not just hypnosis therapy, it's an important complementary method for pain treatment abroad. Hypnosis can guide patients into a deep state of relaxation, shifting their focus away from the pain and changing their perception of it at a subconscious level. This can help reduce the sensation of pain. However, it's important to emphasize that hypnosis therapy varies from person to person. Its effectiveness can be quite polarized. It works particularly well for some individuals, while others may see no effect at all. So it's a supplementary method for pain treatment, not a universal cure-all. Now, let me introduce another method. For some people, this might sound even more mystical. The sixth method is acupuncture. Some might ask, you're doing a science program, why are you talking about acupuncture? I have to share my personal experience again. When I have a migraine, my right eye tears up continuously. But strangely, my left eye doesn't. I went to the hospital and had an MRI done, but nothing was found in my brain. So this is a type of chronic pain that persists. There were times when the pain became unbearable, and I went for acupuncture. After getting a dozen needles inserted, the pain would immediately go away. This is my personal experience. Of course, I can't base a science program solely on personal experiences. So why are we still talking about acupuncture? It's because Western medicine also uses acupuncture. The Children's Hospital at the University of California, San Francisco is one of the best children's hospitals in the world. This hospital gave the child acupuncture to treat pain, and the response was very good. However, the medical community still has no definitive answer as to why acupuncture can relieve pain. There are two possible theories. One is the gate control theory, which states that acupuncture blocks the pain switch in the nervous system. Secondly, acupuncture might just be a placebo. It may not have any actual effect, but the brain tells us that this method is effective, so we don't feel the pain. We are not studying the principles of acupuncture today, so we can only summarize it this way. Acupuncture is very popular for treating pain, which shows that acupuncture therapy is effective. So, we've covered 6 methods for treating chronic pain. Let's summarize them. First, get good quality sleep. Second, engage in positive social interactions. Third, exercise and physical activity. Fourth, reduce life stress. Fifth, hypnosis therapy. Sixth, acupuncture therapy. At the end of the program, let's return to the story we started with. Infants feel pain. MRI shows infant brains react like adults. No anesthesia and surgery is cruel. It was found that under the stimulation of a harmless stretching probe, 18 areas of the infant's brain lit up. These areas are the same ones that are active in adults when they experience pain, indicating that infants can indeed feel pain. Not administering anesthesia to infants during surgery is inhumane. Such immense pain can permanently alter the structure of an infant's brain, or it could cause significant damage to the infant's brain. As the child grows up, their personality and perception of pain may differ from that of the average person. We owe gratitude to that mother who lost her child. It was her persistent questioning that led to the use of anesthesia for infants during surgeries after 1987. So, what exactly is pain? Pain is triggered by biochemical reactions in the nervous system. Today's medical community believes that the essence of pain is a neurological disorder, and pain is closely related to everyone. I hope that all the friends who watch this episode have a deeper understanding of pain. I hope everyone can stay away from pain and live a high-quality, happy life. All right? That's all for today's program. Don't forget to follow Lau Ming's channel, and we'll chat again in the next episode.